Okay, so we're going to make a few more joints here in the face, and it's going to be controlling the eyes, and we can also make something that's going to go for the jaw. So we can make something that's pretty friendly here and pretty easy to do. And the first way that we're going to do it is we're going to pay attention to the geometry. Now, I've shown my geometry here. Make sure that it's not in reference mode like that, because you won't be able to select it. So you have to click this to where that box next to geometry is not in reference mode. That way you can select your different geometries. You can see that this all is split up in a nice fashion for us. Now, just for naming purposes, I'm going to see that the polysurface 58 is actually the left eye, so I'm going to label it that, left eye. And I'm going to do the same to the right. We also have the face. I guess we could just call this head because it's pretty much the whole thing. Head, hair. And again, this is something that you do at modeling, not right now. Okay, but that's just for us to see. We also have teeth and stuff inside, and if you guys look in there, you're going to be able to find those. They might be a little more difficult to select, but you can also go to wireframe mode. You've noticed that I've managed to select a section of it. If I hit 4, you're going to see that I have, it looks like they're the bottom teeth, so I'll just label them as such. Here are the top teeth, and I can click on them through the wireframe. So top teeth. I apologize again for the noise here, guys. And we also have the inner part of the mouth. It looks like it is a part of the head, actually. So what we might do is we'll just have to take that, and let me hit 5 on here so you can see what I'm talking about. That inside of the mouth there is connected to the head, and that's okay. We might have to take that and deform it later. So I did select the tongue on the inside, that's what I just did, and I'm going to label it tongue. Okay. And these are all things that we can account for and plan for as we're creating any extra joints and such that we want to control the head. Now in this case, I'm only going to create some joints to do the eyes, and I'm going to start off by popping out of this view and popping into my side view. And since I labeled everything, it's a good thing for me to go ahead and save this. That way, if something happens to it, I can go grab the saved version. Okay, and what I can do here is I'm going to create a joint. So I need to go up to skeleton, down to joint tool. And from the side here, I can click and just drag this thing based off of where I kind of view the eye to be. Joint 6, I'm going to go ahead and label it right away, left eye. Left eye joint. So now that sets it aside. And what I can do with this joint is I can cheat, and I'll show you guys how to do that. I'm going to tap the spacebar to pop out of here and pop back into my perspective view. You're going to see that that joint is in the center here of our scene. What I can do is I can parent it here to the head joint. That way when the head moves, it'll take the eyes with it. So having that left eye joint selected, I'm going to hit Q to evoke my selection tool. I'm going to hold down shift and click. I don't want the next spline, so make sure it's not the next spline. I'll hit Control Z to undo that selection. I'll click up here on the bone, which should say, for me it says joint 4. It should say head. A little accent for you. It should say head joint. Okay, so I'm just going to relabel mine, and I'll select the eye joint, shift select the head joint, and I'm going to parent it, so I'll hit P. That adds the connection to this left eye joint. So with that left eye joint selected, I'm going to shift select, or actually I'm going to do this in opposite because I'm going to use a constraint to pop this in place. You're going to want to move this with the tools, but you don't get a good accurate movement when it comes to something like this. First thing I'm going to do is select the eye and hit W. And I can see that the back of my eye might be selected, or the eye is pretty big. If I hit 4, it's just really big. So if I go up to modify down to center pivot, that's going to kind of make sure that that pivot point is centered with the geometry, even though somebody might have moved this or the modeler might have had this towards the back. So I can do that with the right eye as well. I'll hit G this time because G evokes last command that I evoked, in which case is center pivot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Q. Q is my selection tool, you'll see right here. I'll select the eye first. I'm going to shift select the joint, the left eye joint. Okay, so I selected the left eye geometry first, shift selected the left eye joint, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to constrain, and I'm going to use a point constraint, but I need to go to the option box. And the reason I'm going to the option box of the point constraint is to turn maintain offset off. Now you remember that when maintain offset isn't on, this child here will jump to the parent. So this is basically just a way for us to get a perfect alignment. There's other ways of doing this, but I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. This is just a cool little way that is illustrated. So I'm going to hit add. You're going to see that that eye pops there, or the left eye joint does. I'm going to select that left eye joint, go to window down to outliner. When my outliner is up, I can hit F. That's going to frame the left eye joint. I'm going to click on this little plus sign to drop down and get to the left eye joint point constraint, where I'm just going to delete that. Okay? Once I delete that, the joint, left eye joint, is no longer constrained to the left eye geometry. So I will select this joint, go up to modify down to freeze transformations. That's going to zero out any rotations I might have gotten. You could also delete the history, edit, delete by type history, just in case any nodes are trying to hold on to that joint, because we did do a point constraint, and that can sometimes lead to weird results if you're having issues with Maya in general, or if your scene is starting to go corrupt somehow. So we can go up to, with this joint selected, skeleton, and we're going to go down to mirror joint. I'm going to go to the option box, turn on YZ, and again, we just got to change the name of the left eye. So we're going to search for left, and we're going to replace with right. I'm going to mirror it. It goes over to the other side. We won't have to delete any history or anything like that, but if you feel comfortable doing that and freezing the transformations, it's never going to hurt things. Okay, so that's the part for the eyes that we have set up. Now, the next thing that we can do is we can take the joints and create some locators for them. So in the next tutorial we're going to do that.